Welcome to the open roads of Europe. You're rolling with Blair Gaming, the king of cargo and master of the motorways. From sunrise hauls to midnight missions, this is Truckers of Europe 3, where every mile tells a story. Let's shift gears and hit the highway. So I welcome you all in my brand new episode of Road to Hell, A Journey of Death. Right now you are watching a short recap of my episode, Road to Hell. The episode begins with the journey from the quarry, where key events lead to new discoveries or challenges, setting the stage for the characters' next steps. As the storyline progresses, the focus shifts towards Tübingen, a picturesque town that offers a stark contrast in scenery and atmosphere. Here, personal conflicts or revelations unfold, blending the natural beauty of Tübingen with the emotional and plot-driven tension that emerges from past experiences. The transition from quarry to Tübingen marks a significant change in setting and tone, pushing the characters forward in their quest or journey. Welcome to the dark side of the road. This is Road to Hell, a solo journey through chaos, rain, and raw determination. It was a silent night, but not peaceful. Just me, my Mercedes, and a massive load strapped tight on the back. The rain didn't just fall, it poured, soaking every inch of the narrow, off-road trail ahead. The path, slippery, twisting downhill like a serpent. One wrong move and it was over. But I kept going. Because in Truckers of Europe 3, every cargo matters, and giving up, that's not an option. So buckle in, this is the story of how I conquered the road to hell, alone in the rain, with only my headlights cutting through the storm. The tires screamed for grip as I eased my foot off the brake. One slip, and the 20-ton load behind me would have dragged the whole rig into the abyss. There were no barriers, no lights, just wet mud, falling rocks, and my instincts. Visibility? Barely a few meters. The fog rolled in thick, like ghosts from the cliffs watching me descend into madness. Every corner felt like the last. Every jolt from the road hit like a heartbeat. I nearly lost it once. Back wheels slipped on a sharp curve. The trailer swung wide. My heart stopped. I clenched the wheel so hard my knuckles went numb. But I corrected it, just in time. Somewhere out there, thunder cracked again, louder, closer, as if nature itself was trying to warn me. But I didn't stop. Because that cargo wasn't just a block and wait. It was my mission, my pride. And when I finally saw the faint glow of that delivery checkpoint in the distance, like a lighthouse through the storm, I knew I had made it. That road didn't break me. It built me. This was more than a delivery. This was survival on wheels. And I'll never forget the night I conquered the road to hell. Hope you guys will enjoy my solo journey. And I had a short conversation with Lily on how Truckers of Europe 3 gave me a chance to experience this road to hell journey, what circumstances and difficulties I experienced throughout this journey. Please get yourself a glass of water and listen to our conversation.
Video games have evolved into something extraordinary. A recent study showed that 79% of players report having profound emotional experiences that feel as real as actual memories. Today's story about conquering the road to hell in Truckers of Europe 3 perfectly illustrates why.
That's fascinating data about gaming's psychological impact. What made this particular virtual experience so memorable?
Picture this, a Mercedes truck carrying 20 tons of cargo down a rain-soaked mountain path, with zero guardrails and visibility down to mere meters. The physics engine simulates every slip of the wheels, every shift of that massive weight behind you. One wrong move and it's game over.
The technical achievement there is remarkable. How does the game create such intense immersion?
It's a perfect storm of sophisticated programming, dynamic weather systems, advanced physics modeling, and spatial audio design. The player described hearing everything from windshield wiper squeaks to the haunting echo of thunder getting closer and closer.
That level of detail really puts you right there in the driver's seat, doesn't it?
Exactly, and here's where it gets really interesting. The player had this heart-stopping moment where the trailer started to swing out on a sharp curve. They described their knuckles going white from gripping the wheel, fighting against virtual physics that felt absolutely real.
The psychological impact of these moments must be incredible. What drives someone to push through that kind of stress, even in a game?
That's what fascinated me most. They viewed this cargo as more than just pixels on a screen. It became this powerful symbol of their determination. Even when nature itself seemed to be warning them off with intensifying thunder, they kept going.
You know, this reminds me of how film directors use weather as a character. The storm becomes this opposing force the protagonist has to overcome.
Oh, wow. That's such a brilliant parallel. And just like in film, the environment plays this crucial role in building tension. The fog rolling in like ghosts watching from the cliffs. The rain turning the narrow trail into a deadly obstacle course.
How did they manage to maintain control under those conditions?
It came down to this delicate dance between skill and instinct. Too much brake pressure and you lose control. Too little, and the cargo's weight pushes you faster than you can handle. The game forces you to master this complex physics system while fighting your own fear.
That's such an interesting intersection of technical skill and emotional resilience.
And it all built to this incredible moment of triumph. They described seeing the delivery checkpoint glowing in the distance like a lighthouse through the storm. After everything they'd endured, that simple checkpoint light represented something much more profound.
The power of that metaphor really drives home the emotional impact of their journey.
What really strikes me is how this experience challenges our traditional understanding of gaming. This wasn't just about completing a virtual delivery. It was about pushing past personal limitations and facing fears head on.
So, in essence, the road to hell became more like a path to self-discovery?
That's exactly it. The players summed it up perfectly when they said, "That road didn't break me, it built me." It's a powerful reminder that meaningful growth can come from unexpected places, even a virtual trucking route in the middle of a storm.
These kinds of experiences really show how far gaming has come as a medium for meaningful storytelling.
And perhaps that's the most valuable takeaway, that the most profound journeys, whether real or virtual, are often the ones that test us most severely. Sometimes it's in those moments of solitude, facing our fears with nothing but our determination and skill, that we discover what we're truly capable of. Okay, I think let's hear from you, Jeff. What's on your mind about Truckers of Europe 3?
Ever wonder why that package arrived late? The world of professional trucking is about to flip everything you assumed about transportation on its head. And a groundbreaking simulation is revealing just how complex it really is.
That's fascinating timing, because this new game is actually changing how people view the entire trucking industry. The way it captures real-world challenges is pretty remarkable.
You know what really grabbed me about Truckers of Europe 3? It's not just some arcade game. We're talking about a full-blown business simulation that's so accurate. Actual trucking companies are looking at it for training purposes.
I heard it even implements real European driving regulations. Like, you can't just drive for endless hours like in other games.
That's right, and get this. In Europe, drivers are legally limited to 9 hours per day, with mandatory break periods. The game enforces all of that, plus you've got to manage fuel consumption, maintenance costs, and route planning, just like a real fleet operator.
Well, that explains why so many players are saying it's helped them understand why deliveries sometimes take longer than expected. What's the most challenging part you've encountered?
Oh man, let me tell you about this delivery I attempted in virtual Rotterdam. Picture this. You're maneuvering a 40-ton truck through streets designed for horse-drawn carriages, with literally inches to spare on either side. It took me, no joke, almost an hour to back into one loading dock.
The attention to those real-world challenges is pretty incredible. I was reading that they actually mapped real European road networks for the game.
And not just the highways, we're talking about narrow country roads, mountain passes, and those nightmare-inducing urban delivery zones. Like, did you know they included different weight restrictions for various bridges and roads? That's the level of detail we're dealing with.
The weather system is pretty impressive, too. I mean, driving through the Alps during a storm feels genuinely nerve-wracking.
Speaking of weather, here's something wild. The game factors in how weather affects fuel consumption and tire wear. You've got to adjust your driving style completely when conditions change, just like real truckers do.
That must be why actual truck drivers are giving it such positive reviews. It's basically a virtual apprenticeship.
Exactly. And with the current driver shortage in Europe, we're talking about a deficit of around 400,000 drivers. This game is actually helping people understand what the profession really involves. Some players have even decided to pursue trucking careers after playing it.
You know what really surprised me? The economic simulation aspect. One wrong business decision can put your virtual company underwater fast.
That's because they've accurately modeled the razor-thin profit margins in the industry. You're constantly balancing fuel costs, maintenance expenses, loan payments, and one breakdown or delayed delivery can wreck your whole week's profits.
The community aspect is interesting too. Players share tips and stories just like real truckers do at rest stops.
And that's what makes this more than just a game. It's becoming a platform for understanding an entire industry that's absolutely crucial to our economy. Like every single thing in your home probably spent time in a truck at some point.
So what you're saying is, this simulation is actually helping bridge the gap between public perception and reality in the trucking industry.
Exactly. And here's the thing, it's coming at a perfect time. With supply chain issues making headlines, people are finally starting to appreciate just how complex and essential this profession really is. This game is pulling back the curtain on an industry that keeps our whole world moving.
Well, it certainly makes you think twice about getting frustrated when delivery times aren't what you expected.
That's probably the biggest takeaway here, understanding that behind every delivery, there's a complex web of challenges, regulations, and skilled professionals making it all happen. And sometimes the best way to appreciate that is to try it yourself, even if it's just in a simulation.
The average video game today contains over 500,000 lines of code. But what's truly mind-blowing is how truckers of Europe 3 required nearly 2 million lines just to simulate realistic truck physics.
That's fascinating. What drove them to invest such incredible resources into getting those details right?
Well, the development team actually discovered that authenticity was the key to success in simulation games. They spent over 18 months riding alongside real European truckers, documenting everything from how engine sounds change under different loads to the precise way light reflects off wet roads at dawn.
Tell me more about how they translated all that real-world research into actual gameplay mechanics.
So here's what's really interesting. They developed this revolutionary physics engine that processes over 100 variables simultaneously. The way your truck handles changes based on cargo weight, road conditions, weather, tire wear, even the aerodynamics of your trailer configuration.
You know what I find fascinating? The economic simulation aspect? How did they make that both realistic and engaging?
Oh my goodness, yes. They actually consulted with major European trucking companies to understand the business side. They incorporated real-world data about fuel costs, maintenance schedules, and route optimization. But here's the clever part. They compressed what would normally be weeks of business decisions into digestible gameplay chunks without losing the authentic feel.
That must have required some serious balancing work. What about the cultural elements?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They recorded over 1,000 hours of local radio content from different European regions, programmed country-specific traffic behaviors, and even modeled regional differences in truck stop culture. They wanted players to feel the distinct personality of each country they drive through.
The attention to detail is remarkable. How did they handle the technical challenges of such a massive game world?
So they developed this incredible streaming system that dynamically loads and unloads different parts of the world as you drive. The game actually processes about 50 square kilometers of detailed environment at any given time, while maintaining a simplified version of the entire European road network in memory.
That's quite an achievement. What about the weather system I've heard so much about?
This is actually one of my favorite parts. They created this sophisticated weather simulation that affects everything. Like, When it rains, the game calculates how water accumulates on different road surfaces, how it affects visibility at night, and even how it impacts brake response times. They spent 6 months just perfecting how headlights reflect off wet roads.
Well, that's incredible. How did they manage to test all these complex systems?
You know what's fascinating? They brought in a team of professional truck drivers as consultants during development. These drivers logged over 100,000 virtual kilometers, testing everything from how different trucks handle on mountain passes to the accuracy of loading dock procedures at various types of facilities.
Looking at all this detail, it really shows how far simulation games have come.
And here's what I think is most remarkable. This isn't just about creating a game anymore. It's about building this incredibly detailed digital preservation of a profession. The developers had to become experts in physics, economics, meteorology, and European transportation regulations. They've essentially created this living document of what it means to be a long-haul trucker in Europe.
That kind of comprehensive approach really sets this game apart, doesn't it?
Absolutely right, and I think it's changed the way people think about simulation games. They're not just entertainment anymore. They're these incredible educational tools that help people understand and appreciate professions they might never experience firsthand. It's really quite remarkable when you think about how far we've come from the simple driving games of the past.
You know what blows my mind? A mobile game about trucking just hit $50 million in monthly revenue. And it's completely changing how we think about gaming business models.
Hold on, we're talking about people paying real money to virtually drive trucks across Europe?
That's exactly right. And here's the fascinating part. Truckers of Europe 3 isn't just a game anymore. It's this entire virtual economy. They've created this ecosystem where players manage fleets, handle logistics, and make real-time business decisions.
So what's the secret sauce here? Because honestly, trucking simulators don't exactly scream mobile gaming goldmine.
Well, it's all about their brilliant freemium approach. The base game is free, but they've implemented these incredibly tempting premium features. We're talking about a 15% conversion rate from free to paid users, which is 3 times the industry average.
That's actually pretty impressive. What exactly are these premium features that get people to open their wallets?
So here's where it gets interesting. They've created this perfect balance of cosmetic and functional upgrades. Players can buy custom paint jobs and chrome accessories, but the real moneymakers are the time-saving features. Their data shows that 70% of premium purchases are related to efficiency boosters.
It's quite a clever approach to monetization. How do they keep players from feeling like they're being pushed to spend?
You know what's really smart? Everything purchasable is either cosmetic or convenience-based. Their internal metrics show that free players still complete 85% of all game content. It just takes them about 3 times longer.
Tell me more about the actual player base. Who's actually spending time virtually trucking across Europe?
Oh, this is fascinating. Their demographics are surprisingly diverse. About 40% are casual gamers who just enjoy the relaxing aspect. 35% are business simulation fans, and get this 25% are actual truckers or people in the logistics industry who play it during downtime.
That's quite a mix. How do they keep all these different types of players engaged?
Well, they've built this sophisticated layered content system. The basic gameplay is accessible enough for casual players, but then they've added these deeper systems like dynamic market prices that fluctuate based on real-world economic data and weather patterns that affect delivery times and fuel consumption.
So what's next for them? This kind of success must be attracting competition.
That's right, and they're staying ahead by constantly innovating. They just launched this new feature where players can create virtual trucking companies and hire other real players as drivers. Their engagement metrics show a 40% increase in daily active users since implementing these social features.
Looking at the bigger picture, what does this tell us about the future of mobile gaming?
Well, it's really redefining what we think is possible in the mobile space. They're proving that with the right mix of accessibility, depth, and monetization, You can turn almost any concept into a successful platform. Their monthly active user growth is up 300% year over year.
Sounds like they've really cracked the code on this one.
And here's what's really exciting about the future. They're starting to experiment with AI-driven features that adjust cargo prices and route difficulties based on individual player behavior. Early testing shows this could increase player retention by another 25%.
Well, I have to say, you've actually made virtual trucking sound fascinating. Who would have thought?
Right? And that's really the biggest lesson here. It's not just about the game mechanics or the business model. It's about understanding your audience and creating value that keeps them coming back. Their average player session length is now 45 minutes, which is unheard of for mobile games.
Looks like the future of gaming might just be in the slow lane, and that's not a bad thing at all.
You know what? Sometimes the most innovative ideas come from the most unexpected places. Who knew virtual trucking would end up teaching us so much about the future of mobile gaming?
Through every twist, turn, and test of endurance, I've finally arrived. The road was tough, the journey long, but every struggle led me here to this moment. This isn't just a destination. It's a reminder that perseverance pays off. Thank you for riding with me. Until next time, keep chasing the horizon.